If you love post-punk music, or you like really noisy, crunchy rock music, then do give this Protomartyr album a good listen. Lyrically, it's very verbose, like the storytelling is really captivating if you're like willing to follow along with the lyrics. I feel like the sound of this album does become a little homogeneous after a while. However, there are still plenty of exhilarating and melancholy moments actually, despite the energy of a lot of songs like Up the Tower, which is this crashing, chaotic, furious track that actually describes a tower being brought down to pieces. Or the Chuckler, which is definitely one of the most tense tracks on here. The way that the strings are just swiping in at the very end to kind of give it that extra lift. Despite these incredibly exciting and high energy moments, underneath it all is a very melancholy mood, and that seems to be what the feel of this album is anyways, like a lot of worry, a lot of concern, as with tracks like A Private Understanding from the get-go you get this sense of false reality, like you've been lied to a little bit. How people kind of make up their own truths or understandings in private, they don't communicate it publicly, and as such we can't really figure out a one absolute truth. Hopefully that made sense. I'm not sure if it made sense. And this worry is carried on by tracks like My Children and Catriona, where Protomartyr voices the concern for the children of the next generation who are going to be brought up in a world that is so like shrouded in emotional turmoil and chaos and war and poison. Carried on by the track The Chuckler, ironically named because by the end they label this entire situation a joke, but the instrumental and the lyrics and the general thirsty, tired, dusty vocal delivery of each word that is said just kind of hints that, you know, obviously it's not as funny and it's not a joke at all. It's actually incredibly devastating. By the end you get tracks like Male Plague, which kind of yells out "Male Plague" over and over again, almost as if it were in a panicked state, followed by a track like Corpses in Regalia, which keep that high tension just bubbling, as if the track is just going to crumble under itself at any second. You know, this album is great. The only things really holding it back are, again, that very homogeneous sound that kind of carries on throughout the whole album, although that isn't too much of a problem because they do vary the song structures and the moods every now and then. Also, I feel like even though the drums are kind of paramount to Protomartyr's sound, I feel like sometimes they're just so flat, they kind of lack a bit of that impact that I feel some songs could really use, especially at some of the crucial moments. I do think this album is very good. I'd give this a very decent to strong 7 out of 10. Good post-punk release for this year.